This is We Were Gamers, and it's a bonus episode where we go hang out at Comic-Con, JJ.
It's a second bonus episode.
2 bonus episodes in a year.
That's like twice as many as I thought we'd do.
In a month?
Yeah. Wait, was the last one less than a month ago? Really?
I think so.
Man, time.
That's awesome. We're going to go down to the con floor, check out the video game area, and try and talk down there and not get run over by massive people, and then maybe talk a little con after.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. There's a chance that the con recording may be horrible. Hard to say.
Yeah, it's true. So we'll try that out, and then probably go somewhere quieter and talk about con in general. What, the first thing you notice when you get in here is the fact that they've got 10,000 Splatoon stations at the Nintendo booth?
It's the only thing Nintendo has, I think. I don't think there's anything else here.
Well, I think you were right on our little bet about whether they were going to have any Zelda or not.
Yeah, and they didn't, right?
No Zelda.
There's a lot of like glass cases of amiibos, and then a lot of people playing Splatoon, and pretty much nothing else.
Okay. Well, I mean, everybody seems to be enjoying themselves, right?
Yeah.
So they did the right thing.
And people are playing it, so I think it's a good game. People seem to like it.
And then the very next thing you notice is the Blizzard booth that has moved since last year, right?
It now takes up an entire corner.
Yeah. So Blizzard used to always have basically the size of a, I don't know, phone booth.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 phone booths put together.
Yeah.
They were selling merch out of.
It wasn't big.
Yeah. And now they've got...
This year it's gigantic.
300 square feet?
Yeah.
Minimum?
And like giant... I don't know how to describe. How would you describe this, Andrew? Like a facade?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's like that goes most of the way to the ceiling. Behind their booth, it clearly looks like they have, I'm going to guess, hundreds and hundreds of boxes of stuff.
Yes, if not thousands.
Yeah.
And their line that stretches on forever.
And it's always closed because it's too long.
I mean,
been the entire con, I think.
It's funny, though, that we're at Comic-Con. There's a decent amount of games. I mean, I'm standing at the Blizzard booth, and I can see Borderlands, Assassin's Creed, Splatoon, all the Blizzard games, Battle Blocks.
And over in that corner is the Microsoft stuff.
Yeah.
Gears of War, Resident Evil.
Gears of War 4,
yeah.
By the way. Bandai Namco's here, so they got their Pac-Man. You played some Pac-Man, right?
Yeah, I played, this is Pac-Man Championship Edition 2. It's like Pac-Man, if Pac-Man listened to a lot of EDM music and got like high off some really trippy drugs. That's what Pac-Man Championship Edition is.
So there's like 9 million ghosts on the screen.
Yeah. It's and they all chase you all the time, and then you hit that power pellet, and you turn around, and then the bass drops.
All right,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm down with that. And then you turn the corner, and then just like our Evo discussion last week, there's Street Fighter 5.
Yep. Yeah. There's looks like a bunch of people playing right now. There's a pretty decent looking line.
So the con floor goes from 0 to 5,000 plus, right?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, like 50-something, 55.
And it's odd to me that video games now is like 0 to 500, maybe 400.
Yeah, like 400.
But that's pretty good. I mean, that's a solid chunk of space at a convention that's,
in theory,
not pop culture, right?
Yeah. It's not really about video games at all. So,
yeah.
I mean, in the same breath where there's giant booths for, Marvel and Star Wars, and these sort of things, video games end up with booths not necessarily that much smaller.
No, I think that at least this Capcom booth and the Nintendo booth are sizes of major comic publishers.
Yeah, it's like kind of weird when you start thinking about it like that. Like, Image is a huge publisher of comics. Their booth is definitely smaller than this Capcom booth we're standing next to.
Absolutely, and the lines are always long, which is great. I mean, it's cool for games.
Yeah.
You don't get to see a lot here that you haven't seen before, although I don't know that I've seen some of these smaller games from like Pit People or all these other things. Mm-hmm. I think that's by the people that made Castle Crashers.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Which they have a remastered version of, it looks like.
Oh, cool.
Cool. And then I think around this corner there's some there's concern around this huge Capcom booth, and then Resident Evil has maybe the second biggest booth I've seen at a con.
Resident Evil 7.
7?
You don't like that iconography, dude?
Oh, is that why there's a red
and the L?
Oh.
Yeah. That's
okay,
what that means.
That went beyond me there.
Okay. It's
did not.
That's not going to play on the radio here either, I don't think.
Oh. Well, You know what? They didn't play for me in person.
Okay.
It's odd to me that the Gears of War 4 thing, Microsoft has kind of like boxed their booth in so you can't see anything.
Yeah, I wonder why. Because wouldn't you want people to see your stuff?
Maybe they don't. Cool I mean, because I have to walk up to. You walk up to this mesh screen and you can't see it.
Yeah, I don't know. They have set up like a dungeon or something in there.
I have no clue. Although it does look good from what I can see.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, that's it. We've recorded for 5 minutes. We've walked through all the video games there is to do at Con.
Yeah.
That's not all of Con, though.
Yeah. No, there's so much more.
I think we should talk about the rest where maybe we're not getting crushed by the mass of humanity.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
We'll be right back. All right. Well, we didn't get run over.
Yeah. And we didn't break the fancy microphone thing.
No, it didn't gotten it. It did not get dropped.
So that's good.
Did not get run over. It did not get broken.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's fun down there.
Yeah.
I wish that you could record better audio while if we had some sort of headset setup or something like that,
Sure.
maybe it would be...
So we could hear it.
Yeah. It could hear you. I could hear it. I didn't have to hold this thing up to our faces.
Yeah.
And it maybe would pick up less background noise. But then I think, you have to almost build that into a costume, and then we're looking at making Stormtrooper outfits, right?
Yeah, yeah. And that's more work than I feel like I want to put in, not only to this podcast, but in my general life.
Well, Comic-Con, for people that have not been to it before, obviously has some video games based on our little spiel that we just did, but it's more of a pop culture convention. So there's costumes and there's comic books being sold and art and movies and
TV shows.
All sorts of people.
Legos and so many Legos.
All people have come from all walks of life to sell their merch and wares.
Yes, exactly.
And throw as many bright colors in your face as possible.
And try to get you to buy them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a sea of humanity down there. It is every year though, right? It's not. I don't think this year was really that much different.
I heard from someone they sold a little bit fewer tickets, but it's not going to make any difference in the mass quantity of people. I think that there's 150,000 tickets and something like 300,000 people that come into town just to hang out.
Yeah.
So you're looking at 300,000 to 400,000 people in downtown San Diego.
Yeah, an area that definitely is not built to handle that many.
Or a building where, you couldn't see, dear listener, as we were walking through the floor, but, it's shoulder to shoulder most places.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of, it's the thing like anywhere that's very crowded where you have to shuffle forward a few steps every little bit or weave around strollers and people. And although they've done a good job in getting rid of strollers in recent years, there's less than there used to be.
They certainly have a lot of rules governing the strollers now.
Yes.
Although it's not quite certain that they all get followed, but at least the rules are there, so people try to, listen to them.
Yeah. It's like going to Disneyland or anything. There's lines everywhere.
Oh, man. You know what I wish they could do is, use some building, some room, somewhere outside the con for lines inside the con, So, when you're, using convention space for lines...
Uh-huh. It feels like a waste, right?
It feels like, yeah. I mean, you could take probably 20,000 people out of the convention hall.
Sure, yeah, yeah.
So.
Move all the lines for all the merch, move the lines for panels, move the lines for everything to some designated line room where people just stand in it and enjoy their standing, and then lead them, I guess, as a procession from there to the various places.
Well, one of the big things that people talk about at Comic-Con, too, we just saw one walk by, Jubilee, and we were talking about, dressing up as Stormtroopers. That's right. What everyone associates. When you say you're going to Comic-Con, I think I always get the question first, are you dressing up?
Yep, that's actually the first thing I was asked this year by coworkers and friends who I told that I was coming here. They're like, oh, you're going to Comic-Con, that's cool. Who are you dressing up as? And I was like, I just wear a t-shirt and shorts. I'm not dressed up.
Yeah. So one of the two first things, oh, look at that. She got a little cape.
Cape is taller than the baby.
Yeah. Yeah. For those of you can't see, my little girl's running around here with a cape that was handed to her by somebody, and it would be under her feet if she were actually wearing it properly.
Yes.
So I would say that when people ask you what the coolest thing is you saw, because that question gets asked to you, it's like you either have to respond with some sort of merch. Like, I saw this, Hearthstone box that's made out of wood that's $200-something bucks.
It plays music when
you open it.
Yeah.
Or I saw a cool costume, or a funny costume or something like that.
I saw this guy who was dressed up like this comic book character, and it was the best one of those I've ever seen, and also it was a skin-tight suit.
Or,
and the dude actually looked good in it.
Yeah, or you saw Loki dressed in a business suit with a sign that said Loki 2016 or something like that.
It's like, I'm at least as good as these other guys.
Yeah. So there's a lot of puns this year with the election and all that sort of stuff. A lot of the booths have election gear.
Yeah, the Peanuts are part of the Rock the Vote campaign this year,
Yep.
so there's election stuff all out this year for them.
Yep.
And I know, speaking of other funny cosplays we just saw a man who was a not working Pokestop from Pokemon Go walked by a little bit ago.
Nice. Pretty great.
So do I have a takeaway from this year in particular? It kind of felt like a lower key year than some years. I don't know if that's just because there was less stuff that I personally was interested in.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's part of it. But I don't know. It just felt like there weren't as many people here. Do you think that's true?
I think that they instituted the RFID chip badges, which of course mine has a problem.
Well, that's the way your luck has been going.
It's technology. It just never works for me. Here's the simplest piece of technology possible, an RFID chip.
It just does.
Oh, now it's broken.
Yeah. I don't know how.
I don't know how this happens to me.
It's really mind-boggling, to be honest with you, the number of coincidences that keep negatively affecting you.
With all the bad technology I get or buy or get involved with or whatever, I am thankful to this day that I've never had a hard drive fail on me.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if that means that I can have all my hard drives work all the time, but nothing else works, maybe it's a good trade.
That's a pretty good superpower, to be honest with you. I've had hard drives fail. It sucks.
Yeah.
It sucks a lot. In general, it felt like, at least to me, with the RFID thing and just like, do you feel that there was not a lot of that interesting stuff at con this year? I don't know. Maybe I'm just because I'm not interested in the biggest movies and stuff into TV that's coming out anymore. It just sort of felt like there was kind of nothing here that I really wanted to do this year.
The convention itself was initially started as a sales convention for vendors.
And comic books,
and comic books and all that sort of stuff. And then the publishers started showing up, and that was cool. And then publishers got involved in other cultural aspects like movies, TV, and those people started showing up. And then they were like, well, why don't we bring everything, not just our comic book movies and TV? And so it has expanded to include all these things, but because it expands to include all these things, the lines and things and weights and all that have gotten much, much longer.
Yeah, totally.
Therefore, we don't even think about doing them, right? So if you wanted to go watch Sigourney Weaver talk about the Alien 30th year anniversary or whatever, you would have had to wait starting Thursday night.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just not on my radar at all anymore.
A lot of it, too, is I feel like, at least personally, I'm a fan of these TV shows. I mean, we're both fans of Game of Thrones.
Sure.
Game of Thrones had a panel here, which by all accounts was very good.
Okay.
But neither of us have the patience to wait in line literally overnight in order to see that panel, right? There are so many people who are willing to wait hours and hours and hours and hours and hours just to get a wristband to come back the next day to be able to get in to see these panels.
One of the things that bothers me most, I guess, is that when that show Heroes came out, that was years ago, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We went and waited probably about an hour. And that was kind of okay, I'll wait an hour to see what this is about. Sure. And our reward for doing that was meeting the entire cast who got down off the stage after doing Q&A and were meeting people in person and shaking hands, and Katie got to take pictures with some of them and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you got to watch the entire first episode 2 months before the rest of the world, which ended up being a pilot that they changed based on feedback from this thing. That doesn't happen anymore.
No.
People from Game of Thrones show up. They answer questions about how Jon Snow's character inspires people in real life. And then people ask them for spoilers, and they're like, we can't give spoilers.
And then people ask the most cringeworthy and awkward questions.
And then it's so long until the next season, they don't even have a trailer.
Yeah. And so then there's nothing that comes out of it. Everything is done, and you got a bunch of softball questions. Not like, the characters know, the actors don't really know anything that's happening, in the writing room or anything.
Right.
So, or if the writer's there, they're not going to tell you what happens next season anyway.
Yeah.
So it's like, why? I don't understand the fervor around it. And, like in previous years, also they've done stuff where like you'll come into the panel and then as you leave, everyone at the panel gets a free gift and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Those years seem to be over too.
They still do that a little bit. But they used to have rooms and rooms and rooms full of like, you got a ticket and then you went to this room
and you get like,
ticket,
here's a set of DVDs.
Here's a DVD set or hats or, all sorts of useful items.
Free t-shirts,
that sort of stuff. That is mostly gone. If they do it, it's like
it's super infrequent, and like the chances of winning are way lower, and the stuff you get is way like more tchotchkes and stuff as opposed to cool stuff.
But that has, I think, helped us focus on having a better con.
Yeah,
like the removal of these things has, I don't know, put us in a place to be like, well, I want to go do exactly these things, and that's what I'm going to spend my time doing, rather than
that's true.
Rather than worrying about what everything on the schedule is and trying to fit it all in,
Yeah, it does help. You'll look at the list of panels for a day and be like, okay, there's like one panel I want to see.
I really want to see because I'll actually get into it.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, there's one here. It's like, okay, what time is that? All right, it's at 11:30, for example. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll go line up at 11, and it's like, I'll look and see if there's a line. Is there a line? No? Great. I'll come back at 11:30 and walk in.
Yeah.
Or, and like that's great. I'm happy that those are that stuff like that is still here, and there are still panels with comic book artists who are willing to get up there and talk with the fans.
Yeah.
And that stuff's great.
Now, in past years, we've also like gone outside the convention because they're doing things at hotels, and one of the things outside at the hotels is the Nintendo experience.
Yeah, that's true. I did not go to that this year.
No, well, we confirmed with people that there was not going to be any Zelda there, so I kind of lost interest.
Hype deflated.
But it's cool that video game publishers, everybody's trying to come down here.
And there's stuff
obviously
for people that don't have badges too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice. Even if you can't get into the convention, there is still some stuff in downtown San Diego that you can do and see.
Yeah. Well, 2-3 years ago, I thought my interest in Comic-Con was waning. I think this year recharged my batteries a little bit. There was enough fun stuff to do, and I didn't even do that much of it.
Yeah.
I wasn't running around trying to get everything or find rare posters or whatever.
Yeah, it's some people get really dedicated and find that hustling and standing and trying to get the exclusives and stuff to be really fun. I find it to be really tiring, and I don't want them that much. So it's been nice. Yeah, it was like I said, I wasn't personally excited for like a lot of the stuff that was on display this year, but it ended up being really good. I think overall, I had a really good time.
Right on, man. Well, let's get out here and go back to the floor, huh?
Yeah, there's still more stuff to see.
All right, well, this was our We Were Gamers bonus episode.
Comic-Con exclusive, 2016.
Track it down, purchase it.
Yeah.
Make sure that you try and sell it on eBay for twice as much.
Yeah.
Con 2016 exclusive We Were Gamers.
Yeah, that's the most limited edition.
So much value.
Yeah.
Well, you can follow us on Instagram where we've taken at least 2 photographs.
There's more than one.
Yeah.
So that's good.
At We Were Gamers. Twitter at We Were Gamers.
Podcast at We Were Gamers.
.com.
.com is the email. Send us some emails.
Or just visit us at the website, weweregamers.com.